But yeah, I've had a few occasions that I still remember of having a good initial interaction with an attractive or very attractive young lady. And I had this notion of, oh, it's no big deal. I'll run into her again. I don't think she wants to be pressured. I think I'll just let it ride. Don't do that. Don't make that mistake. I've done that a lot. I still look back. I don't lose any sleep over it, mind you, but these were learning experiences. Women live in the present moment, and that's where we're going to learn how to do is live more in the now. That's they go with what feels right in the now, guys. And if things are clicking, if the stars are aligned and things are working good, and you guys got a little vibe going, you need to capitalize on it. Okay? Even if it's like this, like I've had the situation of being at a bar or whatever, and not even a bar. I could go into so many different stories about this, but looking back on it, I could see that the girl was ready to move this forward a little bit, at least to kiss or hold or something like that. But I had this idea that I was just going to let it ride and I'd see her again. Well, you never do. You just never do. So if you get an opening, don't do what I did for many years and just assume that, yeah, you'll run into her again. We're in the same neighborhood, right? Well, in New York or something, you're probably never going to see her again. But even in most cities, I can tell you, you're not going to see her again. Um, so carpe diem, take advantage of it. Try to move the ball forward more. Doesn't We're not talking about having sex with her. I'm talking about moving the ball forward some way so you can assure for yourself that you're going to see this girl again and, at the very least, get her number in that situation so you can see her again. I want to also say that I've not had much success, nor have many guys I know had much success in the online dating world. And I see that there's a big trend towards people getting off of these dating sites. There was a time in the beginning of the dating site era, I was a part of it, where it was quite a bonanza, I must say. You hook up online, you have a few things in common, you meet up in person, and take it from there. And I've had some good times doing that. No doubt about it. But we're not in those times anymore. I don't think, we've got millions of different options online and not just one dating site, millions of them, or not millions, but several. And if she's attractive, oh my goodness, like you get on Bumble or any of those type of sites, this girl's got 4,000 hearts or likes or compliments. Look at any of the Facebook pages or Instagram, all the simps just gushing with praise for her. She laps it up. She loves it. But you are just some little needle in the haystack she's never going to find. So the online dating game on paper could work well, but we're now lost in this matrix of overwhelming options, and getting that woman's attention is extremely difficult and unlikely at this point. So there is a trend back towards connecting in real life, in the real everyday world. And that's really my entire approach. I'm not even going to coach you guys to get on a dating site. I think it's a waste of time. Now, if you feel differently, fine. You do you, okay? I'm talking from my experience after over many years. And even in recent years, I tried it again. I just felt it was just never going anywhere. You may just talk to if you do get a connection online, she likes your pictures enough, maybe you'll chit chat about this and this for a while, but you may never meet up, and it's just a lot of wasted time. Um, so what I'm teaching you, what I'm coaching you on, and how I'm doing this myself is online dating is not even an option anymore. I do not see it as an option anymore, frankly. And I don't see any trend changing. Now, if you're killing it in that world, great. Go for it. That's a wonderful way. It looks great on paper. It's so much easier than, having to approach her at the grocery store or something. But all the success that I've had, most of the success, not all. There was a time when online dating was a thing and I was rocking it pretty good. But really, going forward, you got to learn how to interact in real life. And that's really what we're talking about here. Okay. Not online dating strategies. And that includes such ridiculous sites as Adult Friend Finder and all this jazz. You've got so many fake profiles. It could be some Asian kid trying to steal your money in China instead of that hot blonde you think lives in your town. It's really easy for someone to fake a profile. And so I think I've made my point here. The online dating is pretty much dead. And you can even read articles about this. There's a lot of talk about this. So I wouldn't even focus my attention in that direction. Okay? If you guys are vibing in the initial approach phase and you just met the same day and let's say you're at some kind of deal where you're kind of hanging out for a while for a couple hours together. I volunteered recently at this event, a music festival, and it also had a community yoga session that was open to the public. It's in a popular area. And so I met this girl there, quite attractive, and she's kind of a yoga chick. But we both were volunteering on this gig. So we were around each other for a good part of the day, a few hours. And so it became kind of a playful type of thing, playful banter. And I utilized some of the basic touch techniques that we're going to talk about, who Erica Angelo has enlightened humanity on. I will talk about her, but in the future, in the next segment. But this is something I've never heard anybody talk about, but I found myself doing this, and it actually worked great. And it's called doing the DAP, giving a DAP handshake, DAP. And I would say that would be a fun technique to try, like kind of when you're uh, interacting with her. Basically, slide the palms of your hand together, and then you make a snapping sound at the end. Um, it only would work. It would not work in most situations, but if you're in a playful vibe already, then it could definitely work well. Give you good bonus points. Now, there are two techniques, if you call them, that will work like a charm for the majority of women, and you could pretty much have your way, and it doesn't really matter as much if other things are not as together. And there's two techniques. Most guys will not be able to do these techniques, so it's kind of a fantasy, but it does work. I've done both of these things and they'd work like a charm. One of them is to be a performer of some kind, whether a DJ, a singer, an actor, anyone, a presenter of a seminar, anyone that is in front of other people demonstrating excellence in some way, even if you suck as a musician. Just the mere being in the spotlight, getting on stage, is what I call the rock star phenomenon. It's guaranteed to work. You will have women coming up to you, attractive women, wanting to get to know you better. I know this because it goes back for me to, I grew up as a preacher's kid singing in church, and I never put it together back then. It didn't occur to me until many years later. After I sang a solo in front of several people, actually it was in our church, it was almost 4,000 people. But they would just come up to me. I wouldn't have to pursue them. They would just come up. Now, at that time in my 20s, I didn't even know shit from Shinola. I couldn't close the deal, even if it was just getting a date. I was so inadequate in these areas, didn't have the knowledge. But that will work. So I mean, this is maybe some of you younger dudes, Gen Z or something, don't know this. Maybe you do, but this is a well-known fact. It's a well-treaded path. If you get in a band, you've greatly increased your dating opportunities. But that also applies to the other things I mentioned. Just getting in the spotlight, being in front of others, demonstrating excellence, and that your target, the girls or girl that you're interested in, sees you, works like almost nothing else. This can include being a bartender, which I've also done. The second technique that actually may be more attainable for some of you guys out there. Listen to me. This is more attainable than the rock star phenomenon. This is to be seen by your target girl. Like, let's say you're interested in a really hot girl. Maybe you're in college together. You want to get to know her better, but there's like this barrier between you, like you can't seem to cross. If you, and it doesn't have to be college, it could be anywhere in church, doesn't matter, but or at a restaurant, bar. If your target girl, the girl you're interested in, sees you with another attractive woman, socializing with her, such as having dinner with her or something along those lines, it guarantee you it will raise your stock value with her. It will make her interested in you. I've had girls approach while I was seated at the table with an attractive woman, um, just ignore the other girl that was in the room, that was at the table. But that strategy may be more attainable because the girl that you're socializing with in this scenario I'm talking about could be your sister, it could be your cousin, it could be a friend that just wants to go hang out with you for whatever reason. See, women think differently than men. Shouldn't be a shock, but it is the fact. And we look at things differently. See, when she sees you with another attractive woman in her mind, she thinks that you have value. Otherwise, why would this woman spend any time with you at all? So you definitely can raise, whether you're just trying to meet her or you already, let's say you already know her and you'd like to up at the game a little bit. If you can get yourself in a social situation, hanging out with another attractive woman who you not necessarily are dating, could be a sister that she doesn't know that is your sister. You can take it to the bank. This will definitely help your cause. Trust me on this. Okay. I want to also encourage you to consider dating outside of your race, if that appeals to you. Um, Interracial relationships can actually be pretty fantastic. Of course, you have to be attracted to the person and they have to be attracted to you. But it's another option. I wouldn't just, uh, because you think it's the right thing, just stay within your own race. There's lots of different females of all kinds, all varieties. And so, yeah, just acknowledge that as well. That is an option. There was most definitely a time in our country, in America, that interracial relationships were very taboo, and you would be stared at by all kind of people with very evil looks. But thankfully, we've moved beyond that in most parts of the country. I can't speak for everywhere. Some places, I'm sure, are still very racist, but don't overlook that option. Maybe you've considered it, maybe you haven't, but it's definitely something to consider. The principles that I'm talking about apply to all women, most women. Can't speak for all women, but for most women, it doesn't matter what race they are from, these strategies work. With regards to money, either having money or not having money, of course it's better to have money. Money is a big problem in relationships, money worries and things like that. However, you do not have to have a lot of money to enjoy a rich dating life, a rich relationship life with the opposite sex. And I am proof of that. I've never been a huge earner. I've done fairly high-end corporate jobs nearing 100K, but that's not really that much money in today's world. Um, yeah, so conversely, there's plenty of guys out there who are loaded but don't know how to relate. They don't know how to relate. They don't know how to break through to the woman and connect with her, or they're very arrogant or something. So just having money's not enough. If you think it is, I think that's a fantasy. Because what'll happen is with the rich guy, if he's not wise to her, she'll probably shake him down for all he's worth. And there's plenty of examples of this. So, yeah, don't let a lack of money stop you from putting these principles into action. You dig? The other thing about alpha males that I've observed is that they're not very flexible, they're rigid. I'm not even talking about physically. They may not be physically flexible, but that's not what I'm talking about. They're rigid. They're stuck in a macho pattern, which they really can't break out of. Um, they just are insanely stoic. Just, there's a term in physics called degrees of freedom, and that basically tells us an object's ability to move in many different directions with relative ease. And I've noticed that some of your macho alpha male types really just have one mode, just kind of the caveman style. And what I'm talking about is kind of the throwback to the old school gentleman, but with an edge, with definitely a caveman edge. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to add that about alpha males because you hear that term a lot, and I think most guys would perceive that to be a huge compliment, but it's not always the case, and things are not always what they seem. But I've observed this rigidity by alpha males. The sigma male, and the way I perceive it, and again, I've only learned this term recently. I didn't even know about it until recently, but they're more pliable. They're more able to connect with a target female than most alpha males would be, if that makes any sense. Like an example would be, let's call an alpha male a uh, motorcycle guy, a Hell's Angels guy. Like he's just got that one mode, so maybe he can do well with biker chicks, but not much else. If that makes any sense. But in general, women are notorious for picking bad guys, not even talking about the bad boy thing. Maybe we'll get into that later, but I'm talking about just bad individuals that are trouble, that are just going to cause them trouble. It's almost like kryptonite for them. They don't really know how to perceive an evil man, really. I don't think they do very well. They don't do very good at that. They may be aroused by his height, and just overlook everything else or his physicality. And that may work for a while, but give it a few months, a couple of years, and I think things may turn on her. Um, and the guy could just as well find another woman. That is very normal as well. My perception of Sigma males is they're more like a Renaissance man, what we used to call a Renaissance man, someone that's more well-rounded, that can carry a conversation, that's had a lot of interesting experiences, and is not like sitting on the sidelines playing video games all day.